And we're back with your Arts and Culture today. I'm Johnny Johnson. Our next guest is a freak show historian. His name is Professor Flanagan Watson. Why don't you come out here, Professor? Come join us. We'll have a little chat. Where is he? He's lost. There you go. Come on now. Come on, Professor. How do you do?
Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am just flowing with the cosmic winds
It's just
out into the open sea.
So, Professor, what were some of the big names that made freak shows famous?
Well, one of the biggest names and perhaps one of the greatest showmen of all time was Phineas Taylor Barnum, known to most of the public world as P.T. Barnum. And P.T. Barnum was a swindler, a man looking for a pigeon, looking to make a buck. And P.T. Barnum went through many different circuses and dime museums. But
Yes, we touched.
dime museums. I'll talk about that later.
Okay, so
But P.T. Barnum was a man of innovation. He created a midget superstar.
Really?
His name, General Tom Thumb. That was his stage name. His real name was Charles Stratton. And so this midget became such a superstar that when he got married, President Lincoln met with him
Really?
and congratulated him. Yes, it is, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So, P.T. Barnum also had trademarks. Like, there was always a fat boy in his sideshows, in his freak shows. Always a fat little boy and a skinny little boy. The fatter and the younger, the better.
Really?
He also always had a giant, usually Irish, named O'Brien for some reason.
Interesting.
Coupled with less famous midgets. There was also bearded ladies, alligator skin boys, wild men, who were just usually bums or drunkards found off the street, and were of the lower class of freaks.
If only the homeless could have that job these days. So, how did freak shows evolve through time? What kept them alive?
Well, there is a number of phenomena. One of the greatest changes occurring in the freak shows was the development of the Dime Museum.
And that
With a Dime Museum was a museum as we think of it today, with a freak show inside. The idea, the premise for a Dime Museum was to have an exhibit that had something for all tastes, for all members of society. There was the ultra-religious bullshit that some people wanted to look
Sir,
at.
we're on daytime TV, you can't say that word.
And then there was lots of other things too.
And
There
that
was natural history specimens,
What were those?
such as dead animals and carvings from ancient Egypt.
Really?
You had all your regular museum fare that you would see today, but on top of that you had art and coins and medieval glazed bricks.
Fascinating.
But also you had the human oddities, the freak show. if you
Those
will.
consisted of, like, the bearded ladies and the,
The
giants.
bearded ladies, the giants, the alligator boy, the deformed, the conjoined twins, also known as Siamese twins in the day. Interesting story about why they are referred to as Siamese twins. Because the first conjoined twins that created a sensation in the Americas back in 1829, when founded by Captain Coffin, Eng and Chang were two Chinese men from the border of Siam. And when they came and they showed their nimble and acrobatic tricks, between the two of them they were able to carry a 280-pound man. And they created a sensation.
Very fascinating. I understand that Ripley...
Once P.T. Barnum and others, such as Ripley, from Ripley's Believe It or Not auditorium.
I understand
Yes,
that
he was
started off as a
actually
freak show, yes.
he was actually a syndicated cartoonist before he began his freak show debut at the 1934 Boston World Fair,
Interesting.
which was a dime museum, as a matter of fact.
How interesting. Interesting, yes.
The man who invented the Dime Museum was a man named Charles Wilson Peale, a man whose dream was to educate the public. But when he wanted to make more revenue to his educational facility, he put the entertainment aspect of science and education with a human oddities section of his museum. Having the human oddities means that more people would be interested to come and stare at the freaks. But when this idea was taken by P.T. Barnum and others, such as Barnum and Bailey together as the Ringling Brothers, or John Scudder, this idea was developed and they turned it into a money-making device that worked incredibly well.
Amazing. Well, I'm sorry, but we've run all out of time, Professor. We will be right back after these messages.
No, but there's so much more I want to talk to you
I'm sorry,
about.
we're always back. We have to go to commercial.
But we'll be right back after minty toothbrush tasting.